advanced, beginners to advanced. So today Hari won't be able to take the class because he have high fever. So today I will be taking the class. So let me see. So I'm ending it. So hello all. So today we are going to do hooks. So Hari told me that hooks is remaining. Okay, I don't know why my screen is like okay. So I'm live, I think. Okay, so let me share my screen. As I've told, Hari is not available today because he's not well. So I'm covering for him. So I only used to take. Okay, I think I only used to take everything, but now Hari have started taking React, but I used to take earlier. Okay, so that is there. So yeah. So this is my screen. So what I have done, actually created a empty app like npx create react app hooks, because and I have another app open. So this app actually I had created with the class based concept. We're going to refer it soon. Refer it. Okay, sometime if we're going to refer it. So let's do that. And one sec. Let me see if everything is coming from the correct place. Okay. Okay, so everything is coming from the correct place. Okay, so this I have done. So then so I have created a new React app with this. So I have to go to this hooks, and then I have to open it with VS Code. And what I have opened here, I have opened here a class-based project. Okay, so I have done earlier. So we're going to refer it soon. So, okay, so not right now, but we're going to refer it sometimes. And again, class base is a very important thing when you are going to learn hooks. Also hooks are the greatest, okay, but then you should know class based also. Why you should know class based also? Because a lot of things are like that, life cycle matters and all, you won't understand what are they, okay, if you don't know what is this. Okay, so what a class base. So class base is always we teach first classes, then we go to hooks. Is very small topic. Okay, so let me like open, and again today's will be last attendance will be taken towards the end. And so this is there. And so first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class-based thing, then I'm going to convert it into a hook-based thing. So there were two main things which were not in hooks, which were not in functional component actually. One was the concept of state, and another was the concept of lifecycle method. But React introduced them in 2020 mid, like in 16.8, because classes are first they're very complex. Second, React was facing some internal issues. So will not go much into theory. So that's why they were introduced. That today, if you're going to start a new project, please start with hooks. They're easy. React wants you to do like that, and so that is there. So this is a new project which I have created. Then in the src I'll go, and I generally don't really delete this thing, because or else it gives twice the console. So that is done. In the src I will go and create a components folder. Then app.js also I'll open, and the first component which I'm going to create is a class based component, and then we are going to convert it into hooks. Okay, so I will create a class counter dot js, and Hari, I told you all the shortcuts. It is RCE is the shortcut to create a class based component. So I'll do this, and then save it, and then I will bring this to the app.js. So class counter like this. Save it. So class counter is coming. Okay, it is okay. Now we'll go back here and quickly create a very easy component. Okay, so in which we have some, we'll definitely have some class, have some state. Okay, so I'll go here, do another shortcut r const, and here I will have a count of 0. Okay, then I will quickly come here and do a button. Button will be there. I'll make it a bit more smaller. A button will be there, and this button will have a count of this dot state dot count, and on click will be equal to, so I will increase the state here itself. So for that I have to do like this dot set state is count is this dot state dot count plus 1. Okay, so like this it is there. Count is there like this. So save it. So it is there, it is count is coming inside. Hope you all know this because I taught all these things. So if I increase the count in it. Now we are going to change this. Now we are going to change this into a hooks. And how do we do that? So to do that, what we are going to do, we are going to come here and do a hook counter dot js, and it will be a functional component, but our functional component will have the concept of state. How does our functional component have got the concept of state? So through hooks. So hooks are like this inbuilt function which React team at Facebook have created, and we're going to do that. Okay, so here what we're going to do, hooks like there are two important hooks. One is the use state hooks and the another is the use effect hook. Use state hooks replaces use effect hook used to do the state thing in your functional component, and use effect hook is used to do the lifecycle component, which are earlier only in class based component. So for having that in the here state, what I'm going to have, const count commas the same thing I'm going to replace it here. Okay, set count equal to use state. So again a ES6 concept like this is known as array destructuring. Again, so ES6 is very important to learn React. Okay, so that is there. Then I'm going to have this here. So I'll go here and do a PUTT1 button. Button will have a hook. Let me complete it, then I will tell the difference. Hook count, and this will be count. And then I will have a on click equal to set count plus 1. This it is there, and let me save it. Let me have this hook count also here. So I'll have it in this hook counter, and see, it is also working by magic. So it is also working. So how it is working? So let us compare both of these things. Okay, so okay, see, the thing here is that this count variable will initially have the value of 0. This is exactly like this dot state. Although the this dot state was an object, here the count will have an initial value of 0. But what is the set count? Set count is equivalent to the set state. But what used to happen in your class based component, this set state was very generic, but here the set count is not generic. So suppose I have another state component which I will call name, and I will have it as a, soon we are going to have actually this thing, set a name, and it will be a, it can be anything like I'm testing. The same thing if I'm going to have in a class base, I will have it with the name which will be empty string. So like this it will be there. But if I want to update it, I will update it with the set state only. But here if I'm going to update with the set name. So what happens in hooks, what happens, hooks, good evening. So hooks, everything will have its own set state, and here the set state and all are very easy. There is no concept of this keyword. You can directly update the count likes and all those things are there. Okay, but if there are 10 state, there will be 10 set state kind of a thing, and it's the industry standard to take it like count is there, so set count will be there, set name is there, the set name is there. And here the set state was a generic thing. Okay, so I will delete this code because we are going to maybe come back to this later on. And here also save it. So that is done. So this is the state and how easy it is. So the next thing which we are going to do, there is one more thing which I want to tell is like this hook counter is there. So we'll have another hook counter one dot js RAFCE. And what I will have here, I'll have another state, but this time the use state you always have to import it here. Okay, so I will have a const initial state equal to 0, and then I will have this initial state here. And now what I am going to have here is not like this, like I will have this one will be called increment. So like this one will be decrement, will be -1. This one will be reset, and in the reset I will just set the initial count, initial state, and where I will show the count, I will have another variable like this. H1 is count is count, like this I'll show. So let us have this thing now. Instead of, I will remove both of these things. I will remove both of these things, and I'll have a hook counter one like this. I have good evening, Kamlesh. Okay, so I can have the increment, decrement, and reset is working fine. So this those things are working fine. But in the class based, actually, I have not seen what Hari taught. But in the class based, there is a concept like if I try to increment it. So this is the React concept that if I try to increase the state at a very fast rate, React does some optimization. So we'll have some code like that here also. So I will have another button called increment 5 and increment 5. So those who don't know, I'm taking instead of Hari this class because Hari is not well. So on click is increment 5. So a new function I'll call. So I'll go here and do a const increment 5 equal to like this, and I'll have a simple for loop here for let I equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus, and set count is count plus 1. Okay, save it. Okay, increment 5 is there. So these increments are working fine, but you'll see that this increment will only increase it by 1. Why? Because React does a performance optimization. React sees at a very fast rate we are increasing the count value. It what it will do, it will like optimize it and do it once only. But we know this is right. So in class base also we use a concept known as previous state. So here also we can use it, and the code is actually much more simpler. So piv state is piv state plus 1. Save it. So now my count will increase by like 5. So this is working fine. So this is the thing which is there. So now the next thing which we are going to do is the use effect hook. So this is the state, and as I told, the other thing which was there in the in the class based, but it is not there in your functional was the lifecycle method. So lifecycle method, hope you have all learned the lifecycle method which Hari have taught. So again, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to create something from the class base first, then we are going to go to the hook base. Okay, so first thing which I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the old code of this one only. Okay, so this one only I will go, and what we are going to do here, first thing is that I want to show this. So I will have a class counter like this. Save it. So class counter is like a count is showing as 0. So this count is showing as 0. I want this count to be shown instead of this React app also. So how can we do that thing? Okay, so to do that thing, what we should do after the state has been shown here. We should update. There is something known as document or title through which we can change it. But where should we put that thing? So we should put that thing in the lifecycle method of component did mount, which runs after this render is done. So, and in the mounting phase, it runs. So we'll do here component did mount and document dot title equal to count is, okay, this dot state dot count. Count is this dot state dot count. And now I will save it. Okay. So oh, this dot state dot count, there should be a dollar actually. Sorry, dollar. Okay. So count is 0 is been shown. Okay. So that is perfect. Count 0 is been shown. But if I click on it, see, this is increasing, but this is not increasing. Why? Because component did mount only runs in the mounting phase. In the updating phase happens when the state is changed. Suppose this is the, I don't touch anything, so then the mounting phase will happen. But the moment the state is changed, this component did mount and the constructor also doesn't run. So we have to use the counterpart of it in the updating phase. Updating happens when the state change. We have another method known as component did update, that run. Okay, so we'll have that thing. Let me copy this thing, and component did update, and it generally take two things. We're going to use that soon, so I will write them also. Piv props comma, it is not required to use them. Piv state, again piv state will take care of the previous state. It is not required to use it. I will save it. So now I will come here. It is also increasing, so it means that this is also component did update is also running, which runs in the updating phase. Okay, there are two phases, mounting phase and update phase. There's another phase which we are going to learn now, that is the unmounting phase. Okay, so I think we have not learned it earlier, so but we are going to learn that. Okay, so now we are going to convert it into hooks. So it does not like learning the class-based thing, although this is also very practical example. So we're going to convert it into hooks, and with hooks we're going to convert it in this old thing. Okay, so here what we are going to do, there is a new hook which implements the lifecycle methods, and all the lifecycle methods. Actually in React there are only three important lifecycle methods: component did mount, component update, and component will unmount. That React team had thought. So these three lifecycle methods are implemented using this hook. Okay, using this hook. This is not a use state hook. This hook is known as a use effect hook, and there are 5 ways to use it. We are going to see all the 5 ways. Use effect, this, and go, and then we'll have the same thing here, which is document dot title. But the thing is that we don't have this dot state and all those things we don't have, so I will remove it. Let me do one more thing here. So to differentiate it, let me have a hook count here. Okay, hook count here, and what we are going to do, we are going to save it. Okay, use effect is also imported. Then I will save it and go to the app.js, and instead of the class counter I'll have the hook counter. Save it. See, hook counter is coming, and I will increase it. See, it is also increasing. What does that mean? That means this use effect hook. So this is not 5 configuration. Use effect hook in its most basic configuration, which is like this, is a combination of component did mount and component did update. So that it means that it runs in the mounting phase also and updating phase also. So both the phases it runs. Okay, so we have to cover a lot, so I have to go a bit faster. Okay, so it runs in both of those things. Okay, so that is there. Now we are done with one way to use effect. There are actually another 5 ways. Okay, actually another 5 ways are there. So let us see those ways. So the another next thing which we are going to do is known as conditional use effect. So again, first I'm going to show it here, then we're going to go there. Okay, so that thing is like suppose now I've got a new state variable known as name. Okay, name I will have. Then okay, I will have a console log also, clg updating document title. Updating document title I have. Then I'll have a input type is text, value is equal to this dot state dot name, on change is equal to e this dot set state name is e dot target dot value, just like this. Okay, because this is how this things works. Okay, so this just I have a this thing, and then I will come here and do a class counter again. Let's save it. I'll open this inspect in the console. So see what will happen here. If I click here, the count is increasing, and I'm also getting this updating document title will be there. So JavaScript classes happens every month, second week. So next month second week. So first week is always CSS, second week is JavaScript. So it runs in a loop, runs in a loop always. And third week is mostly React.js. Okay, and it doesn't change. Okay, so it is like that. Beside this also we have a lot of other things. Okay, so that is there. And okay, so okay, so now, so always we have, and on Saturdays we have our 3 hours workshop, and once in a month we have a 12-hour boot camp. So you can see that in a 12-hour boot camp is also happens once in a month. Okay, so that is there. Okay, so let's go forward. So that is like that. uh yeah, so yeah, means we have daily, we have some live. So uh tomorrow there will be a big workshop at 3. Okay, at 3 to 6. Okay, so all of our workshop and all of our boot camps and all of everything will get nice certificate. And but this thing, like, you have to attend all 4 days and to uh fill the attendance form. Today also we'll give that attendance form towards the end. Okay, so that is there. And but React is a quite advanced stuff, and you should know JavaScript before that. So that is a must. Okay, so that is there. And so this I have written this thing. Okay, so see, now this count is getting updated. But if I write something here, like maybe write, and then also the updating document title is updated, which is actually not a good thing. Why it is not a good thing? Because my component did update was only for the count, it is not for my name. So it is like in bigger apps, this is known as performance optimization. This is like a not good for performance optimization, that this is component did update is also running. If I updating, like, if I changing this, okay, if I changing this, it is also running that. So we have to do some changes in this code so that it should only run if the count is changed. So how do we do that? So for that we'll take help of the previous state. Okay, so we'll do that. If state dot count not equal to this dot state dot count, then will happen. Okay, I will also explain it what it is this. So as we know that previous state, okay, previous state takes case of the previous state. Okay, so let us again see what will happen right now. So I will remove this thing. When I will click this thing, see, right now the state is 1. Right now the state is 1. So it will come into the component did update. Okay, the previous state dot count is 1. So now no. Okay, suppose it is 1 and I click it here. Okay, so the previous state dot count is 1, new state dot count is 2, so which is not equal to, so this document or title is getting updated. But if I write something here like n, I will write, see, nothing will happen. And a, I will write, nothing will happen, because count is still previous state dot count is also 2, new state dot count is also 2, so this will not run. This is how the performance optimization is done here. Okay, and the performance optimization is done in much better, much easier way in the hooks. Okay, so we're going to see, we're going to do some changes in this use effect now. Okay, so again in this use effect I will have a console log. So we'll have this updating document title, and let me write this use effect also. Use effect also I have written, and then maybe I will put it here again, hook counter. Save it. Oh, counter I've done. Now again I will have a new state. Okay, new state is done like const name comma set name equal to use state, like this. I'll have, okay. So now we'll go and input type text is there, then value equal to name and on change equal to e is, so this is some old code set, name is e dot target dot value, so like this it is there. So we'll do this thing, and now see again the same problem will come. I will increase it, it will increase. I'll increase it, it will increase. Because the use effect will run in the component, the mounting phase also and updating phase also. In both phases it will run. Okay, in both phases it will run. So that is a problem. So now what we are going to do? So what we are going to do here? How to do the performance optimization? So that it only runs when the count is increased, not when the name is increased. So how do we do that? We don't have to do something like this, like crazy thing like this previous state and all those things. We just have to do a thing here. Here it accepts a second parameter like this. I will do and do a array kind of a thing, and then I will give a count. What does this count means? This count means this use effect should run only if the count is increased, not the name is increased. So I have seen worked in a lot of project production code, because I have worked for the past 16 years. Okay, so and so what happens there, in 10-15 states are there, and I will write like comma comma comma, it should increase on that thing only. So okay, let us see if this is working. So this is there. See, I'm doing this, this is increasing, but I'll write something, this will not increase here, because the it is like it is mentioned here that when only the count is increased, then only this use effect should run. Here we have to do some complicated stuff, but here it is much more easy. That's why people love hooks. That is one of the reasons people love hooks. Okay, so that is done. Now the next thing is the use effect is not yet over. Use effect is not yet over, so let us do that. Okay, so now, but we have done enough of this counter example. Let us do some mouse example, like mouse position example. So I will have a new thing known as a class mouse.js, class mouse.js, and it will be RCE. And now what I'm going to have here is like this, and I will have a r const constructor, and this will be x will be 0 and y will be 0. So these two things will be there. Okay, now we'll come here and this div and h1, maybe h1 will be there, and this h1 x is this dot state dot x, y is this dot state dot y. Okay, so these two things will be there. Then I'll save it, and then this class mouse will be there, and then save it. So that x and y are been shown. Okay, so that is good. Now what I want to do, there is something in the DOM. So what happens in the DOM, that I can track the mouse position. Okay, I can track the mouse position through something known as client X and client Y. Let me complete the code. So but I want an event listener to track the mouse position the moment the position changes. I want to have something like this. Okay, so I'll have a component did mount like this, then window. So why I'm having it in the component did mount? Because the event listener should be fired only once. If you know JavaScript, the event listener should only fire one. If it get fires more than one, there will be memory leak in the project. Okay, window dot add event listener, and then it will be mouse move comma this dot log. We're going to have a function this dot log mouse position. These are log mouse position we have, and then we'll go and do this. Log mouse position is e, and this dot set state is x is e dot client x. So this is client x is something which is available in your DOM. Okay, so this is something which is available in the DOM which tracks your x position. Okay, e dot client y, save it, and see both of these things are there. Now did I put it here? Okay, I put it here. So okay, I will also have a lot of locks here because we need this lock soon. This will be component did mount called. This will be g class mouse and log mouse position. I'll call these things. Okay. So I have see the first time this component inbound called has been called because this will be called. Now I will take my mouse here and it will keep tracking my mouse position. See, the main thing is not how this is come. Okay, so yeah, this is shown. The main thing is that see, this is firing such a lot so many times, so that is the main thing. And the thing is happening because how the render works. The moment even x changes, it was initially 0, so moment it change even by 1, this render will run again and then it will show it. So that is how it is done. But the main thing to notice here is that we have only run one lifecycle method which is known as component demand. So I want to do something like that in the hooks, to have a lifecycle method, to use effect. There is no lifecycle method in the functional component, so use it through your use effect hook in a way that only component demand run. Right now we have seen two ways in which component demand and component data both ran. Okay, so let us change it. So we will go here and do a new hook mouse dot js, and one sec. Okay. So hook mouse dot js, and then RAFCE. So first we need to convert that project like this. Okay, so let us quickly convert it. So see, again you will see it nice, like let me do this thing. Okay, so it will be nice. See how I will convert it. Okay, so these two things are there. So I will have a const x comma set x equal to use state of 0, const y comma set y equal to use state of 0. Then inside this I will have a div, and then maybe h1 hook x is directly x and y is directly y. So that is there. Okay, then we don't have any component mount. So but let us first let me write this log mouse position. So I will write it here. So const log mouse position, it will take my e, and then it will come here and do a set x of e dot client x, and cut it, set y is e dot client y. So that is there. Okay, now instead of component mount we'll have a use effect hook. Use effect is there, and then I will have a maybe a CLG or CLG. I need here also CLG mouse mouse position, use effect called. Okay. So then I will have this thing, but there is no this keyword, so I will remove this. So again the log mouse position will run. But the thing is that if I call it like this, in this way, it means that it will call the component did mount and the component did update both. So what does that mean? That means that a event listener will be fired a lot of time. Event listener in JavaScript, on React, anything, you don't fire more than once. Event listener, you fire once, it will keep on listening in the background. So that's why we use the component did mount here. But how to use the component did mount here? Like it is like a combination component did mount, component did update. We take the empty array like this, empty array. So this is very important because we are going to soon going to do API call also using this. Okay, because we know that API calls are done with component did mount. So this is the way to do component did mount. Okay, so that is there. So now make it small, and this I will call the hook mouse. Let's save it. See, hook is now. Let me do it. Okay, use effect call, and then this is called. So this is how it is done. But this is called only once, so that's why it is there. Okay, so this is done. Now we are going to do a use effect with cleanup, which is basically the component will unmount, which we have not learned in like in class base, but we are going to learn today. Okay, so again, first thing, okay, for learning that, what I am going to do, I am going to from the I'm going to create a new component, and that component name will be mouse container dot js rafe. It will be a functional component, because we are doing mainly the functional component. So what we will have here is a const display comma set display is equal to use state, like true is there. Then what I'm going to have inside here, a button will be there, button, and this will be toggle display, and in this button I will have a on click equal to like this, and set display of not of display. So display is originally true, so when I will click this button, it will make it like false. Okay, so if I have this here, okay, instead of hook mouse, where is my class mouse? Class mouse is here. So what I am going to do here, mouse container, instead of this hook mouse, I'll call the mouse container like this. Save it, and the mouse container will be shown. Okay, so that is okay. Now this toggle display, what I will do, based on the display, I'll use a shortcut and an operator. Hope you know what is an operator shortcut. I will, and this might have been taught. Today is the last day, anyways. You should have known this thing. So I will have a class mouse. You call this class mouse. Okay, call this class mouse. So see, what is happening? This class mouse has been. So let me actually again refresh it. So this class mouse component mount is called, then this is running. But what will happen if I do this toggle display? Toggle display will make it false. So it means the class mouse should be removed. And in programming terms, what did happen? It should be removed completely. Okay, it should be removed completely. Class mouse, it is unmounted. So I'll do this in toggle display. Toggle display. So it is removed. But the thing is, actually it is not removed. See, still my class mount lock points position is there. So this thing is in programming is known as a memory leak. So there is a big memory leak. So it should not happen like this. So it should always, it is happening because this add event list is still there. So there is another life cycle method, which is known as component will unmount, component will unmount called, and in that, so this will call every time this component is unmounted, and here I can have work use the remove event listener. I'll save it. So now what will happen, I'll cut it, refresh it, complete running. toggle display component unmount is called. So now it is completely destroyed. So this is how it is there. So now we are going to do the same thing in hook. Instead of this class mouse, I'll have a hook mouse. Let it save it. Again, I'll have the hook use effect is called running. Even toggle display, it is running. The event handler is there. So how to have this, like, oh, I again closed it. Okay, so how to have this component will unmounting code here. So we don't have any lifetime. So it is done in a different way. It is done in this way, like this. We have a return return this. Then I'm going to have this, and inside this I will have this code actually. First thing is that it should be called as unmounting called, and there is no this here. Save it, refresh it, coming, toggle display gone, unmounting call, it is gone. So this is how this is done. Okay, so this is done. Now we're going to do one more use effect, which is the last use effect. Okay, and we're going to learn how to do a API call with this. So API call with this, I'm going to open old code here. This code is, I think, yeah, Hari might have told something like this code. So this is a class based code. So I always tell this to my students. So this we have a post item here, post item. We are going to use this post item. Okay, and then we have a post list. Okay, post list is there. Okay, and here we are doing done the API call with the class based component to the API endpoint. This API endpoint, which we all know means what is this endpoint. This endpoint is the famous post endpoint. Okay, so this post endpoint which returns as a array of object. So this endpoint we are going to do the call. So we are going to convert this code into that. So, and we are going to use the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to have a post list.js. Yeah, so I have opened this code so that we can have it here, and then RAFCE is there. Then here, so we need to have some empty array of posts. So instead of this, I'll have a const posts set posts equal to use state of array. Now we don't have a component did mount here, but how to run a component did mount in component did mount from a function component? We have to use the use effect and the use effect in component did mount way. How? We have to give a empty array, which is very important. Now I want to do this code. Okay, so let us do this code only, fetch API whatever is there. So the problem with this code is that I have to make something async. Here I have made the component did not async, but use effect is not like that. I cannot make it async. So what we do generally here, we create a function like const. So fetch, if I'm going to use async of it, then fetch, there is then and catch block also, but I'm not going to show all the things. Like fetch posts equal to async, like this. Async will be there. So I'm creating a function inside. This seems weird, but this is how it is done. Okay, so these two things I'm going to do, and then after that the data will come. I will do it in a set post, and you just have to do a post. Okay, post I have to do. Just like here, I have to do a lot of things. I have to do this thing, but the thing is that it will not run like this. Okay, so I have to run this fetch post from inside. So this will run up at this time. So this is done. Now what I want to do, I want to put it to whatever the data comes. So it will contain all the data. I want to put it here. Okay, to a different post item. So this post item is something which I have to create, and I will take it post item.js and item.css. These two things I'm going to create. And this I'm taking. So post item is a very simple styled component which we might have used. Okay, so and this is also having this. There is something like style company. I've done a lot of projects with the style company. You can see my channel what is style company post item and do, but this will fail because I have something a third party library known as style component. So I think I have to do a control J and PMI style component. So it is done. I will save it. Now I have to do a post test. The data is there or not. Yeah, so the data is there and I'm getting all the data from this API endpoint and showing it as live post. So this is how the whole the internet works, from Amazon to a post site like medium.com. Everything works like that. So from API endpoint is there, from that we can get the data. So this is how the API call is done, and we are getting all the 100 posts from here. This is not a normal site, this is the API endpoint created by backend engineers. Okay, so and it is getting data from the database. Front-end engineer don't need to think a lot about it, only they have to think how to show it. So this is how it has been shown. So that is done. Now what we are going to look into, we are going to look into another topic, but before that, okay, so that is there, and I'll do a send. Okay. Let me give today's attendance. Day 4 attendance are here. Please fill the day for attendance. So today we are going to do one more topic, which is like a refs. Again, I'm going to take from my old like class based refs, I'm going to say. So refs are in React. Sometimes we need to access the internal code, like instead of state we need to access deep down. So React teams say not to use refs that much, but then also sometimes we require when you need deep access. Sometimes I have seen in video element where you need this refs. Okay, so this refs is there in classes, and class based, from class based there is hook scheme. Hooks are not that difference, they are quite simple, similar to this. Okay, so I'm create a new component known as refs demo.js, and then it is like rfce, and here again we have a different refs demo, and save it. Refs demo will do, and I'm actually going to copy this code. So this is just a form code, and but then we'll have this thing. So but what happens, instead of using refs like this in functional component, we have a hook again. So I will have a const user ref equal to use ref. Use ref is a hook, not user ref. Why I'm using user ref? Use ref. Use ref is a hook, and the other one is comment ref. So like this, have this thing, cut it, and then remove this thing. I will remove this thing. There is no this keyword. So with refs you can get much more easier access to everything, but refs were created used by React for a different thing. Sometimes we don't have access like JavaScript access in React, so for that refs was created. So hope everything is done. Okay, one thing is not done. This is like a, it should be a const. Okay, so like this, and then I will have a refs demo is there. If I go here, okay, so this with refs I can do directly like this. So if Hari have told the control component yesterday, control component are very complicated in React, and refs are very easy. Okay, so that is it. Even we have some special features with refs, like this thing. This is the user dot current.focus, which I have put it in a component demand, so that the focus thing is coming. This thing is only there in JavaScript. Okay, so means DOM access. So instead of this component demand, I will have a use effect which will run in a component did mount way like this, and use ref current.focus. I'll save it. Now see what will happen. Go here and refresh it. See, by default this blinking thing is coming here, so this is one step less. Okay, so I can write it here, this like this is there. Okay, so this is there. If I inspect it, solid, submit it, so I'm able to get this thing. So refs are use a quite in React. People like to use them because they're much more easier than to uh, use directly a form. Like they I can directly access it with this ref keyword. Okay, so they are like something which you should always explore, and that is there. And I think we've done everything. So hope you have all filled the last day attendance form. So please fill it, and you have to fill all 4 days to get the certificate. So this weekly attendances, weekly things are like that only. So attendance form is there in the live chat. Those who want, they can fill it. Okay. So that is correct. That command and that command is correct. So that command is correct. Okay. If it would have not correct, then how would it have come? This command is correct. Okay. So that is there. So that is there, and we'll meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. When we have a 3 hours workshop. See you all there. Thank you.